not every customer is your customer. I feel like this is something that entrepreneurs learn early on in business and being their own boss, that not every customer is the kind of customer or client that you're trying to attract.
I agree. But how does it happen, and how do you get yourself out of it?
Yeah. That's the tough part of the conversation.
Yeah, I think the simple way to answer that is on the front end, we talk about, developing that avatar and that person that you think, will find value in your product. That's always the best thing to do. But absent of that, typically the way businesses run is they'll run promotions, they'll run specials, they'll run, discounts. And you got to just be really careful that the people aren't just coming in just because of the discounts, because they might not be that profitable of a customer long term if all they're coming in is on the discounts. So having this balancing act with promos and discounts and percentages off and buy one, get one free, if you're doing that too much, you're training those customers to see that that's the value of your product. I think the way that most businesses would like to do it is use a promo to get them in the door. And this goes into segmenting audiences again. If you have a customer base, they're already your customers. If you know they're coming back time and time again, why you don't need to give them specials all the time. That comes in segmenting your data and being able to only target new prospects and new people like that. And that way you don't create a bad habit in your customer base where you look up and say, I got all the wrong customers.
Yep. And I'll just give the example of why we even thought about talking this today. I was watching a video of a social media manager. So she is like a freelance. So she is her own business. And she was saying that it took her a while to finally realize that she wasn't attracting the type of clients that she wanted to work with. She kept noticing that the people reaching out to her were lowballing her every time. They were trying to get her to lower her prices. And she was like, why is this the case? Well, she was like, even if they knew me, I stopped undervaluing my service. Mm-hmm. So I think that this can apply to many different types of businesses. We briefly talked about the restaurant example and have a reason why you're offering a special, not just all of the time to cheapen or devalue what it is that you're offering. Yeah,
but in the same process, you should be, if you're paying attention to the statistics and analytics and you're looking at your data,
yes,
this ought to pipe up pretty early that it's a problem.
Yep.
Like the example of the agency who people are trying to lowball her. You have two choices: look for different customers or refine your sales pitch to build more value. There's two sides to the coin. Yep. So if you think that your product is that valuable, then you should be able to explain that and get that across to somebody sitting across from you, if that's what you really need to get, and that's the value against the market, right? It's all about what's the market say the product is worth. If you're delivering a $10,000 product and people only want to pay $5,000 for it, I think you have to go backwards and realize you're not doing enough to build value if that outcome keeps happening over and over again. And you can look up and say, if you don't figure that out, then you're left with that dilemma.
Yeah. I think also a while back, I talked to you both about this. There was some other guy I had found. He was like a construction guy. He owns his own construction kind of business, and he straight up said, like, I'm tired of these people wanting me to do the same amount of work for less money. Mm-hmm. And so he needed to readjust his offer, what his website was saying, because obviously that communication was getting crossed,
Yeah, I think we've also found, like, I know in my personal experience of just doing almost like any kind of freelance or helping people out with different things, I feel like the more you can charge somebody a lot of times, like understanding what your value is, if it's free, those are always the ones that take the most time. They kind of over leverage every bit of every second that you want. Whereas if you charge somebody, like I know we had website examples, like somebody that was charging $60,000 for a website versus somebody is charging $10,000. They said the clients that they attracted at the $10,000 level ate up entirely significantly more time than the people that actually paid $60,000, because the one that's $60,000 are basically saying, I trust you, you're going to do it the right way, this is all getting done. The $10,000 was like very penny pinching. They want to be involved. They scrutinized everything that they did because that was their budget. So it's like, what kind of person do you want to attract? I mean, how many of those times do you have to be able to do lower budgets?
Yeah, and listen, time is money. So when you understand the time it's going to take and you have a value placed on that, then, I think people that wake up in that situation it's really not the customer's fault. It's the way that they have approached things. They've deviated from what they know is their business plan. So if the 60,000, how do you justify a $60,000 website? Well, shit, you got to be doing a lot of stuff. How could you possibly do all of that for 10,000? That doesn't really correlate with each other. So it's two different things. A $10,000 service is different than a $60,000 service. Every aspect of it's different. So how do you move that down into a $10,000 package? I think that's just, they're not, if you wake up in that situation, they're the wrong customer. You just have to learn. It's hard to say no. Listen, I'm guilty of it as well as anyone. When you got somebody sitting in front of you that's ready to spend money with you, you can play all kind of tricks on yourself if you're not super disciplined about those things. So I think you can, most of the time, if you reflect, it's internal. It's you're the one that's causing this to happen. You just got to get real with yourself. And
yeah, it's okay to say no.
It's okay to say no.
And this is what I was going to ask you next, Sean. Like someone that is listening to this, maybe they just started their business. They're in the first 6 months.
Yep.
How soon do you think that, like, maybe they realize, okay, maybe I need to change what my offer is to people? Like, how soon do you think they should be looking at it this way? Because if I just open my business, I am trying to get customers into the door, or I'm trying to get clients.
And remember that the timing of things, maybe in the beginning, it depends, your objectives, your business plan. A lot of times with a new business, you need to get some wins. So you're willing to compromise sometimes in the beginning because you don't have any track record. So you have to discount your product. Once you have that track record, then it's all about clearly defining the value of your services. How does it compare in the marketplace? Are you the competitive services offering the same type of that you are, priced similarly? Like, that's kind of just part of the game. And if you still think it's not enough money, then you need to just figure out how to build more value in what you're providing to your customer.
To piggyback a little bit what Sean just said too, like when somebody's just starting off, I think really you establish that value early on, but basically say, because I'm trying to get wins. If you're transparent on that, saying, look, you're getting a lower price right now, you're actually getting a $60,000 website for $40,000 because I'm trying to build wins. If you're not interested in that, then you move on. But if you come back to me in 2 months, it's going to be $60,000 because really I'm trying to give this discount only to a couple of people that I like, and you are one of them. Congratulations, and you move forward with it. But
I'd call bullshit. I'd see right to sell. You're trying to sell me, Junior. Yeah, bullshit. I saw the salesman coming out in you just now, boy. You would.
I don't do sales.
If I could, would you? Kind of thing. Yeah, listen, it's, there's a science behind this, and you can pretty much get it right. The thing it's tricky sometimes with promos and discounts. You just have to always, what are you getting out of it? What do you think the return's going to be? And usually if you go through that math, you'll look up and say, I don't think this is really a good idea. It might be a good idea for one time to try it. You got to try everything once. But if you have the wrong customer, learn how to sell better, or quit giving discounts if it's
the other thing too.
Afraid to say no.
Yeah, well, Sean also always says this too when we're talking to people, and I don't know if this is, but really, when there's somebody as our clients, we fire ourselves after 3 to 6 months if we can't figure it out. So basically, we try to give a good value, because I've heard him say this a lot of times. Oh, if we price it at that, there's no way people can buy it. So we're going to have to lose margins on this in order to make margins on that so that we can survive and provide this product. But it needs to be, we have to show the quality and the value of what we're giving them, or else they just won't hire us back. There's no reason to just take people's money. We're trying to provide a service that's going to benefit that company. And if it doesn't in the long run, everybody loses.
Taking empty money is not good. And that's something that we're, as we're looking at pricing out all these packages right now for MarketingBox, a lot of the approach in software is they work on what's called the breakage model, right? That a lot of people are going to sign up, and there's a large percentage of them that are going to never use the product. It's like breakage, right? It's like, so that's a lot of these business models have that factored into it. That's not good for the customer. Right? It's not, they're spending this money every month. They're not using it. They're not getting any value out of it. Most of the time that happens because maybe the system's too hard. They couldn't figure it out. It's not that much money, so they just leave it on their credit card and they never cancel it. Our approach is, let's figure out why they're not using the system. Is it too difficult? is they don't know how to fool with their data. They don't know how to build graphics to get a campaign across. Like, it's just, they just can't do it. Our approach is that we're going to try to eliminate all that stuff with automation and with AI, where we're going to reduce that friction, which means we want people to use 100% of their package every month, not have 50% of our users not using anything, and that's how we make our money. So it's we want to always provide value for what we're getting, because, man, what kind of person are you if you're taking money from someone and they're not even using your product, dude? So you can't control how they behave, as far as whether they cancel or not, but you can control how easy a product is to use so they actually get the value that they're paying for out of it. And that's really what our approach is going to be.
And if you're a first-time listener, guys, like, this is what our podcast, like, we talk about real business experiences. Like, you're listening to our CEO explaining our pricing strategy. So I think this is super valuable stuff. Yeah. Like, I hope that you return, that you subscribe, because this is what you're going to get every time.